Welcome back! In today's video, I'll be discussing some unique and fascinating languages which may be lesser known among the general public. For perhaps their structure, phonetics, or formation, they have really struck out to me and tickled my curiosity, and that is why I decided to speak about these languages today. I'll be explaining the ins and outs of the language, as well as give you a short audio to listen to so you can hear what it sounds like. So without further ado, here is my pick of the most unique languages in the world. Here we go! Turkish bird language. This language is used in the region of Turkey, Kuşköy, near the Black Sea. It's actually a variant of the Turkish language, but with one important difference. Usual sounds are not put together to form words and sentences, but instead, whistling is used. You heard that correct! People from this village use whistles from different tones and lengths to form ideas. In fact, they use whistles to communicate with each other in a similar way I'm giving this information over to you right now. This language, or form of communication, was formed about 500 years ago by farmers who needed to communicate with each other over mountainous terrain. Screaming was not effective, so they began whistling to each other, mimicking the tones of the Turkish language. Nowadays, there are only 10,000 speakers left, but a great deal is going into preserving it. The greatest threat to the extinction of this language are cell phones, which takes away the need to get information across long distances using just one's own vocals. Luckily, festivals are held yearly to celebrate this incredible language, and is being taught in primary schools in the region. I bet this is the only occasion in which a student won't receive detention for whistling in class. This is not the only whistling language. There is a whistling language called Silbo-Gmero, which is used on the Canary Islands off the coast of Spain. There are some others used in Greece, Morocco, Vietnam, and more. Similarly, in medieval Scandinavia, women used to sing high-pitched tunes to communicate with one another throughout villages in the mountains. These songs were called kulning, and they served a similar purpose to that of the whistling language, although they were perhaps a bit less developed. Esperanto. Upon hearing this language, you may think, what's strange about this language? It doesn't seem much different than English, Spanish, French, or German. Here's the interesting part. This language was entirely constructed by a man named L.L. Zamenhof. Normally, languages form over time, sometimes taking hundreds or thousands of years to fully develop. They're molded by groups of people, and with time adopt a writing system and proper grammar rules. And as we normally see, a widely spoken language often breaks apart into smaller related languages, like how there was once a first Slavic language, which is now Russian, Polish, Bulgarian, etc., and Old Norse, which is now Norwegian, Icelandic, Swedish, Danish. This language has the most similarities to the Indo-European language tree, although it can't really be said that it belongs to the set of languages, as it wasn't really formed from them. In the 1870s and 80s, Zamenhof wanted to create a universal language that would unite people from different backgrounds, breaking the language barrier. This idea came to him as he was growing up a Polish Jew in Białystok, a city that was then Russian and is now Polish. People were divided into 4 categories: Russian, Polish, German, and Jewish, and each identity spoke their own language. He hated seeing the world so divided, so he created this new language, Esperanto, and tried to spread it as much as he could. This language was designed to be able to learn in just a short few months so it could spread faster. The grammar was specifically set up in a way of being flexible and practical so that it's easy to learn and easy to use. Esperanto nowadays has 2 million speakers, although it has no official status in any country nor the UN. It has entered the education system, though, in countries like Hungary and China, and there's media in the language across the globe. What does Esperanto sound like? Let's have a listen.
Comprenemble mi uzas gin por kio ajn mi uzas lingvon, ĉu ne? Mi aŭskultas muzikon, mi tre ŝatas babiladi kun miaj amikoj, voĉe aŭ skribe. Mi ankaŭ verkas iomete en Esperanto, mi faras podcastojn.
Sign language. This language has many variants and is unique because instead of vocals being used to communicate, words and sentences are used forming your hands. The earliest mentions of sign language is in documents from 5th century Greece. This wasn't concrete sign language though, as we know it today. In the 1700s, in Paris, France, there was a deaf community that would sign among each other. The first school for the deaf was created by l'Abbé Charles Michel de la Paix. French people, please forgive my pronunciation, who created his own manual alphabet and words combined with the French grammar. American Sign Language is nowadays heavily influenced by French Sign Language due to the number of teachers in the primary American deaf schools. There are many variants of sign language used throughout the world. ASL, or American Sign Language, is used by many deaf communities around the United States. British Sign Language is also commonly used, as well as Australian. This language is not only unique in that it's nonverbal, but it's changed the lives of deaf people, turning a disability into an opportunity. With a proper way to communicate, it's connected deaf people with each other and with the world more than ever. The fourth language I will be talking about is called Xhosa. Actually, it's pronounced a little different, but I am unable to pronounce it correctly as in this language there is a unique clicking sound. And this is precisely what I will be discussing today. Xhosa is a Bantu language, native to South Africa, parts of Lesotho, and parts of Eswatini. Before the 16th century, Xhosa people began settling in the region of South Africa. On the east coast, they came across the Khoisan-speaking people. Before that point, Xhosa did not have those phonetics, but adopted it from that point. As of 2013, there are 8 million Xhosa speakers, although no further data is available. This makes it the second most spoken Bantu language after Zulu. There are primary and secondary schools in these countries operating in Xhosa, and there are classes given to native and non-native speakers in higher education. While Xhosa uses the Latin alphabet, many letters make different sounds. For example, C, Q, and X are pronounced as precise clicks using different parts of the mouth. Here's what it sounds like. Pirahã is another ultra-unique language which can be heard near the Amazon River in Brazil. Despite only having 280 to 350 speakers, it's not in immediate danger of extinction, as it is the primary language used by the Pirahã tribe. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same about the other languages on that language tree, such as Yahahi and Bahura, which are all extinct. The unique part of this language, though, isn't that it's left standing alone on that language tree. What's special is that there are few words for ordinary things every language seems to have a word for. For instance, there's a word for one, or single thing, and a word for two or multiple things, but that's how far it goes. There's a word for parent, although not gender specific, and a word for sibling, although there's no way of expressing any family member beyond that. There's no way to express singular and plural in this language, and there are no words for colors. They can specify dark or light, but anything further would be described using something that is that color. For example, blood is used to express red. There isn't even a way to say future, present, or past tense, and context needs to be used to figure it out for oneself. Pirahã is said though to have very simple phonetics, which is easy to learn. Let's have a listen.
Aivan oikeapio e kuva iso kai hiaiche. Ikä ai.
Okay.
Ikä.
Okay.
That's it for today! Have you learned something new about languages today? Which languages would you like me to make a video about next? Let me know in the comments. Tack för idag, Tjus and Auf Wiedersehen!